All right, everybody, welcome to episode number 2 of Wilder Minds. Now that we figured out where we're going to hang the Busch Light neon, we might as well
get going.
Crack one open, right?
Snap it. There it is. Let's hear that sound.
Ooh.
Oh, that's it right
Glorious.
there. Cheers, fellas.
boys.
Here's
Cheers,
episode
boys.
2.
Cheers.
Number 2.
Cheers.
Give me one.
Cheers.
Sure.
Tap it up. Tap it up. Busch latte for the win.
Mm-hmm.
Tasty.
Oh, that's how you start a Monday morning.
No better way to start.
Just kidding. It's Wednesday.
Morning.
Morning. Yeah.
Oh, episode number 2. So happy to be here. Boy,
Yeah.
we got a lot to talk about, huh?
Oh, man.
Has anything happened in the world since we last sat down here a week ago?
It's unbelievable what has happened in 1 week. It is incredible, actually.
Breakneck pace.
No, I think that's the world we're in, man.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It is.
Where do you guys want to start?
I don't care. We have so much to cover. I mean, last week was their intro episode, and I think we got our stories out. So everybody, if you're listening to episode 2, you probably like the fact that episode 1 was about the stories that we're about to tell. And I think this week the gloves are off. I think we all have little sneaker stuff along the way that we thought about after the thing, and now it's ready to get into it. So let's dive.
Sneaker stuff.
Yeah.
I like the loose. We have some framework. There's no question with each podcast, but I like the. Around any corner, a story could pop up. Oh, yeah. And we don't even know what it is yet, but we'll know when it comes.
Yeah. Well, and that's what happens when you've been doing this shit together for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Know where all the skeletons are.
Yeah.
So I got one.
Yeah.
Let's just start here. Gene Hackman died.
He did die. And he did not look like Gene Hackman when he died.
No.
I was really shocked. I mean, I was really shocked.
He's 95.
Yeah, but not even a facial feature, like nothing that I could be like, that's Gene Hackman. I mean, I'm talking Hoosiers coach here.
Well, that's the part of it for me is I saw him last year. They said Gene Hackman, rare public appearance.
Yeah.
I looked and I'm like, damn it, who is that? He did not look like the Hoosiers coach.
No.
Which is one of my favorite all-time movies. But also, it's hard to think about. He wasn't really a great actor. I mean, everybody says he was. He had a couple roles, but I feel like he was 65 in every role.
Yeah.
From back when he started until the end.
Yeah.
So to me, I mean, the Hoosiers really solidified it for me.
Yeah.
And I think that role, I'm a big basketball guy, sports guy. I really loved that role.
Yeah.
That he played the coach, whatever. But that's about as far as it goes for me.
See,
I'm not a Gene guy.
You're not a Gene guy. That's interesting because I like Gene, but I was going to ask you give me like top 5 movies.
Hoosiers.
Yeah, Hoosiers.
That's
So
where
I
I'm
got
at.
Hoosiers number 1 on mine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I'm at. I can't recall one where I was like, you know what else?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. He's like the Benjamin Button of actors. Like he stayed 60. He like Michael J. Fox is
Steve
20
Martin.
the
Steve
whole
Martin.
time. Yeah, Steve Martin. Like they're the same age for 35 years. Gene, when they said he was 95, I was like, I thought he was like 70 when he was back doing those movies. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the 80s were tough.
Well, they were tough. I will say this: Hoosiers was an all-timer, but my cousin was probably had the most memorable role. Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper is my cousin. He's my third cousin.
Fucking
Wait, what the fuck? What? Dennis Hopper is your cousin?
Dennis Hopper's my
Apparently,
cousin.
I don't know everything.
Okay, well, there's breaking news, folks. Dennis Hopper's his cousin.
Dennis Hopper, he was a Stern, I believe.
Is his real name Dennis Brown?
Denny Brown?
Denny Brown? Is
No,
that
it
just
wasn't
his
Denny.
It's the stage name?
No, but I don't know a whole lot about the depth of connection, but I know he's a third or fourth cousin on the.
He's in the tree.
on my mom's.
He's
side.
in the tree. He's
got
in there
it.
somewhere.
Mishler side.
We got to go to Ancestry. We got to figure this out.
I don't
go to
want him
Ancestry.
find anything else out though.
Don't go to Ancestry.
No, I don't want that to happen.
Don't submit your DNA.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, so obviously at the time I knew that, but Dennis is my cousin. And he is an actor.
Oh, yeah.
That guy to me,
He's good.
yeah.
I mean, you're jaded. He's family. I get it.
Yeah.
So let me get back to my movie list before you derailed me with Dennis Hopper's my uncle.
No, cousin.
Cousin.
Could be my uncle. I know he's related.
I got Hoosiers. I got The Firm.
Okay, The Firm. That's a good. One.
Mississippi Burning.
Oh.
The Unforgiven. I mean, if you've seen Unforgiven.
Okay, I will give you Unforgiven with the mustache.
Yes, with the stash, the whole night. Plus, that movie is just I mean, it's insane.
92.
Crimson Tide, another good
See,
one.
I just don't remember them being. Those are all great movies.
Great
The Firm
movies.
with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
See, these are good movies. I just don't remember him being in
He wasn't really a leading guy in a lot of
What
them.
was the
which is
one he
interesting.
did with Will Ferrell? Not Will Ferrell at all. Will Smith, the slap man.
Oh, yeah.
State of the
Men in
gosh.
Black?
No,
State of the
not State of the Union. That was last night.
yeah.
No. What the heck was that movie? State of Play or something? It was like a CIA guy.
Yeah, it was like
a
State
great
of Play or
movie.
something like that. Yeah.
But the final one I threw in here was Eureka. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Eureka. I'm gonna throw this out there right now. No. It is a movie you got to go see it.
Eureka.
It's actually it's actually a pretty inspirational movie. So he played a gold prospector and he went to the Yukon.
Yeah.
And he went in there with absolutely nothing and struck it big and got big, fat cat, rich and happy. But he was a miserable prick. And so I actually read an interview that he did years ago where he talked about how intriguing the part was because in his mind he kept thinking about like the guy that's going through this. He played a character over the course of 20 years in that movie. And over the course of those 20 years, he went from like rough and tough wild man to big, rich, fat cat. And what intrigued him the most was this idea of like constantly chasing your dream. But when you get it, is it really as satisfying as you thought it was going to be?
Yeah.
And so in that movie, it kind of plays out. But
No, in that movie, did he look the same at 20 as he did at 60? Because he basically never aged. So it's kind of hard to play a never-changing
Eureka.
character if you've never changed.
it's called Eureka. Yeah.
Okay. Never
But
heard
it's
of it.
cool. I mean,
I've never seen that one.
I like it because that whole idea of like chasing your dream and then you get there and you're like, no, that's not satisfying. I got to keep going. I got to keep pushing. I got to keep chasing something else. You know what I mean? It's kind of that never-ending pursuit. So
Urethra.
anyway, yeah.
That's it.
Dennis Hopper.
My uncle, or my cousin.
Anyway, so
Danny.
yeah. What else?
Yeah.
Cousin Denny.
What else you got?
I got news from my household that's not to go down like a bad situation here, but we all have dogs. We have labs.
Yeah.
We've had labs for a long time. Casey's recently got a new one, and he's just incredible. Big old sumbitch, like solid, right? Kenai. So Shay's getting old. She's 10 years old. And, you know, she's struggling a little bit, arthritis. She's been running. She got some hard miles on her. But recently, I went to give her some food, and I was holding it up like this above her, and she didn't move her head. And I'm like, what's going on? So I looked around, kind of moved it back and forth, and then she nosed it and grabbed it. She's blind.
Blind?
She's blind as a bat.
Oh, no.
Just happened,
Blind as
happened
a,
quick.
it
didn't it?
literally happened like
crazy.
that. So yeah, Shay is now blind. It's sad. It's not affecting her from a health, like she eats well, she's still fine there, but she's blind. So we've had to like adjust our house. And it's so sad, but it's also like you look over
You gotta.
and
have,
it's
yeah.
tough because like Nugget was barking at the FedEx guy, and normally Shay would go to the door and bark at the FedEx guy. And I look over and Shay's barking, but she's barking at the bathroom because she can't
she
see the
doesn't-
FedEx.
She does it.
She's
She's
wrong
just barking.
direction, so
Yeah.
she's just over here barking at the bathroom, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Come on, over here." So you're just kind of steering her around, but she figures it out, and it's amazing watching her like navigate. She knows our
course
house
correct
like
based
crazy.
on,
So yeah,
What's
yeah.
it-
So
w-
I don't
do you
know.
get- What's it from?
I don't know.
mean,
I'm going to take her in
fast.
tomorrow, but
Yeah.
that fast, it was just like one of those things. So yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't trying to derail it, but yeah, Shay is blind as a bat right now, and it just like
Yeah.
bam, overnight it happened. So
Well,
and
we
now
all
she's
have
tough.
How old is Shay again?
She's 10 going on 11.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
and people see her all the time because she's with me, and I always put her on social media. She's always doing everything with me, and then just literally one day I was like, "What's wrong?" And then she couldn't see.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was tough.
Well, you've had labs. I have a lab, going to be a 9-year-old lab. Same things that all lab owners kind of run into is the hip
Yeah.
dysplasia and some of that stuff. They're just big dogs, and we have an English, and he's always been in great shape. Year old, he tore his ACL doing a retrieve on the ice, and so that's been repaired. It's going on 8 years, and there's major arthritis in there. So he hasn't been getting around at all.
Yeah.
And you know how dogs are; they're depressed if they can't do what they want to do as a dog. So I brought him in, and we had it looked at, and she basically said there's a couple options, and so Galliprant is what we're leaning into, and that's basically a arthritis medicine.
Yeah.
And from a couple of my other buddies that have bird dogs, they said it's a game changer.
Yeah.
They literally have given their dogs Galliprant, and it's changed them completely.
Yep, yep.
And I don't know what it's just an inflammation medicine, I guess, is what I can.
Anti-inflammatory.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, same thing. We have old labs, man, and I know you've went through some weird.
We just went through it. We just went through it last fall, and Drake was the last puppy of the last litter that we had, and he was the final one. I think he outlived all his litter mates too. He had 12 litter mates out of that litter.
Yeah.
And I think you guys had one.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad. I gave our parents one, and then Drake was the last. And
Yeah.
and we were without a lab for almost a year.
Yeah.
Fucking worst year of my life. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm a dog guy.
Yeah.
It's like through and through, I'm a dog guy.
That's the problem right now is like, you know, she's getting old. I was prepared in the fall to get a puppy and work with Shay. And, you know, I didn't think it was going to be like, and then all of a sudden one day you're like, oh, she's blind now.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Now what am I going to do? And so, it's just tough. I just know we're all dog people, outdoorsmen in general. Like, you have dog, we all love dogs and we've all had labs. And, you know, this is my third chocolate. Bailey was an anomaly. She lived to 16 years old, which was like unbelievable. And she was just incredible. So, I mean, it's just tough, you know, as an owner, they're a member of your family. So anybody goes through it. But, man, there's just something about having that lab out there. It's just so much fun, you know, and they're just such good
always by you,
friends.
always by your feet.
Oh, I trip over her half the time because she's right there with me. And now she can smell me. So she's there. She knows I'm there. But it's like, okay, follow me. And she, you know, she walks and she follows, but like we're having to clean everything out, clear paths and everything. But she knows where the steps are. Like she knows I'm coming up. Right. You'll see her almost feel, and then she goes down. And now I'm training her literally at this age. I'm like, step. And she's so smart. She's like, boop, boop, and goes right down. So, it's just an adjustment. But labs are just such an important part of our families that I just thought, you know, man, it's tough. So.
When I started the search for this latest pup, and we got Kenai, we ended up with him. He's a rock star. But I was looking around at other dogs for a while, and I kept coming back, and I just told Lisa, I'm like, I'm looking for a lab in a dog that's not a lab. Why am I doing that?
Yeah, just get a lab.
I'm just gonna go get my lab. Like, what am I thinking? So
exactly.
And now we've progressed all the way because of Kenai and how awesome and badass he is. Now it's like, Lisa's full on. She's into it. We're going to start breeding and doing all that stuff again.
Perfect. Lisa?
Perfect.
Yeah. And the dogs.
Okay, good.
Oh, good. Well, that's perfect because I have a feeling that once we get back from drop this year, I'll be on the search. That's where there's going to be a pause, right? So it's like, hopefully nothing happens to her between now and, you know, you just don't want that. But you don't know what's going to happen, how her health is going to deteriorate. So we've got to be prepared. But Kylie goes off to college. We're empty nesters, which is insane. And so the fact that it's an empty nest, then we go and dropped. And I don't want to get a new puppy and be like, here you go, potty train.
No, so, Katie doesn't.
No, Katie definitely doesn't. She's already said, absolutely. I would do it in a heartbeat. I already said to her, I'm like, if I get it, could you potty train while I'm gone? That didn't work out. So I think when we get back,
Listen,
you know, that'll be the search.
For forgiveness,
that's
a
good point. Exactly. That's a good point. Exactly. So, so that'll be kind of that'll be the search. So that's good. If you're breeding, then we're going to have to work out a deal because I'm going to be looking.
So on the drop thing, when I was randomly looking for another dog, looking for everything in a lab and another dog, the only reason I was doing that is because I'm learning to fly. And I'm like, man, 100-pound English lab in a plane, like maybe limits what I can do down the road. And then I was like, screw it. I want my dog.
Do it. So get your dog. Get your dog.
So
awesome. Anyway, didn't mean to derail us on that one. I just know how much dogs mean to everybody. And
no, I'm gonna have to chug this beer now.
Yeah, you guys know Shay, and just this is like a development over like the past 48 hours.
Yeah.
You saw her in the weekend.
Oh, I know, it was crazy.
It was just weird. It's weird state, but as dog lovers, you know, you just want the best for them. So
for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, now that I've sucked us down a rabbit hole,
what do you got?
What do you got?
All right, I got a question for you. And these are random questions I'm going to pose throughout the podcast, but this is a tough one. Maybe it's tough for me. So this is a question I'd like to pose to you guys.
Do I know Dennis Hopper?
Did you know that he was my cousin?
So you got to cut one of these from your life. You got to pick one.
Okay.
Yep. Hunting the whitetail rut. Turkey hunting in general, just straight up, you can never turkey hunt again. Or listening to music. Which one? Which one do you cut?
I know mine.
You can still hunt whitetail, just can't do it during the rut.
No.
You can never turkey hunt again. In music, you might as well be deaf because you can't listen to the thing that we love again.
I know mine.
Okay.
This is almost like Marry, Fuck, Kill. It's like like a little list, right?
Yeah, sure.
gonna say it out loud. Turkey hunting's got to go.
I have to agree.
Turkey hunting's got to go for me.
Yeah.
Music would be at the top. Life sucks without music. I'm not gonna lie.
It does.
That would be like.
It's just too many things that music does for you. Like
Yep.
whitetail in the rut, 1,000% for me over turkey.
Yep.
And I've killed so many damn turkeys that if I don't even know if I've killed one. I like guiding them, so I just go guide and call. I just never kill one again. I can't
do
go
that either.
Oh,
You
then
just can't go.
I'll watch them from a distance. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Bring me the music. Let's kill a big whitetail.
Okay.
But no turkey hunting.
What's yours?
I'm torn because
You're a turkey.
You
guy.
like turkey.
I love turkey.
That's what I'm saying.
It's 3 months out of the year is turkey hunting. So in the spring, what are you gonna do?
Listen to
I mean, I
music.
know you can fish always, but for me, I love. Don't get me wrong, the rut is magic, and I can't imagine not hunting the rut. But I can hunt pre-rut, I can hunt post-rut, I can hunt late season, I can hunt early season. And to be honest with you, sometimes we don't even get to the rut because we shoot early at times in certain areas. So for me, as painful as it is, I'd have to say the week and a half of the rut, I would probably have to eliminate to encourage in that 3 months of turkey, month and a half to 2 months of turkey hunting. There's just too many other people that get involved in turkey hunting. I can't not turkey hunt anymore. That'd have to be for me. It'd be a greedy choice in my opinion if I chose rut because.
Well, the good news is you can sit back at camp and listen to music while we're hunting the rut.
That's right.
Because that's where it's going to end
That's
up,
where it's
right?
gonna end up.
And then in turkey season, we'll watch you from a distance. So
Yeah.
together, it works out
You
really
guys
good.
can go get the land set up, hang stands.
Get it all ready to go.
And I'll let you know.
No, that's it. I knew that might be your choice because you do love and I love turkey hunting. Don't get me wrong. I like taking kids and everybody. That's the fun part for me. I mean, we've shot so many of them in the face that
Throw it out the
over the
window.
years, it's
Done.
like I would just be like, yeah, I'll be here listening to some music, drinking a Busch Light, waiting for everybody to get back.
Yeah.
I'd be good with it.
Well, we have turkey season coming up.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah.
And this is one that people always they look at me sideways when I say this, and maybe you guys will too. I don't see any reason whatsoever to hunt a turkey with a bow. Turkeys were made to be shot in the face with a shotgun.
I agree.
Like,
I mean, we've done it, but I had the ninja bird in Kansas that I'll never do it again because I had that bird deflect. He was just just deflected it.
I will say that was one of the quickest. It was one of the quickest responses ever. He shoots at this bird. First of all, you sailed the first one, didn't you?
I did, of course.
Sailed the first one. Like landed in the stubble somewhere.
Silent.
The second one, the bird's like, pow. And he knocks it away with his wing.
With his wing.
We're like, what is this? This is an unbelievable bird. Knocks a third arrow and cuts the beard right off. Bird flies away. And in a split second, he literally goes, it's perfect. That's all I was after anyway.
So quick.
I went out and grabbed the beard, and I was like, and got it.
And that was the last time you ever hunted with a
It's the last time I turkey hunted with a bow.
I think it is.
It is. No, I swear it is.
This is how
100%.
committed we were. We spot and stalked
Yeah.
down over that hillside, and
Yeah.
we're trying to shoot in a old cornfield.
If I remember,
from the
that's
fall
when
before.
like the guillotine things were coming out, and we were
gobble
trying to do the
guillotines.
head, and
Whop
that
'em.
bitch
all or nothing.
was just to here with it, and I was trying to head shot, and I mean, so
beard
then when I
guillotine.
went to the body, those guillotines aren't meant to body shot. And
They're meant to beard cut.
But so he flopped like this to like strut almost, and when he flopped, he knocked that arrow, like ninja kicked it all the way up in the air, and
At
I was
judo
like,
point.
what is happening?
It was unreal.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know, man. I would say, what the fuck did you ask?
The bow. I don't.
Oh yeah,
I have no reason to
God
shoot
dang
one.
it.
I have no reason to shoot one with a bow.
Yeah.
And people look at me and they're like, "You don't want to do that?" I'm like, "No."
So
Sorry.
one
I
more
want to
thing
hit
on
him with
that.
the wad.
yeah. I'm with you.
So I would say this. I would bow hunt, but I think our style of hunting turkeys is not conducive to bow hunting. Like, I'm not a fan of sitting in the blind waiting for the turkey to walk by. I think spot and stalking and trying to do it with a bow would be a lot of fun, but like our style that we hunt here in Michigan, where we're getting after it all the time and like on the gun, like that to me is the fun part.
Yeah.
So,
But I'm
so
not
it's not that I
interest-
wouldn't. I think our style. I love that style. That's really really difficult to do.
I'm
with a
not
bow.
interested in deer hunting for turkeys though.
Yeah.
Like I deer hunt for deer.
Yeah,
Not turkeys.
I'm not a fan of sitting. No,
I
at
sat
all.
with a lady one time in Kansas years ago, and we were in the blind. She's like, "This is how we hunt them back home." I'm like, "This is boring as shit. This is terrible. And she's like, yeah, we'll sit like 6-8 hours a day. I'm like, how many birds do you see? She's like, maybe one. I'm like, oh, we got to change it up.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you open to hunting a different way? She's like, yeah, we were doing a charity thing down there. She's like, yeah. I'm like, let's go make one a movie star. We got out. We got one to strike up. He came like 300 yards across this cornfield. She's like, this is so much better. Would the birds in North Carolina do this? I'm like, I'm sure they would. Give it a rip, you know?
Yeah.
I can't deer hunt for them. I can't sit still.
I'm with you. I've always chose to shoot a shotgun. I just like the fact that I can enjoy it. When they get about 30 yards and in, it's just relax. It's time to enjoy the moment. But what you also got to think about too is just the opportunity for land. Some people only have their own, so they have to play the waiting game and be patient. If they run them and bump them and then they're gone. So I understand, because we have lots of different properties that we hunt, and we're lucky, fortunate to have that. But if I only had my land and I knew they were coming into this certain location between 10 and noon and dusting or whatever, I probably would park it there and wait for the opportunity. But when you have multiple options, man, you want to strike them up. You want to work a hot bird.
Oh yeah.
So my house right now, Cabela's just sent a bunch of their new mouth calls, which, by the way,
I just got them out of the case.
They're dialed.
Yeah, they're solid.
They're really good. But Ryder is practicing right now.
Yeah. Have fun with that.
Oh, it is just
between the noise and probably tickle in the daylight. If he's trying to mouth call and really get into it, he's got to get that going.
Lisa just looked at me and she's like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah. I was talking to Mark Drury and I was asking him about his early days, because that's how we broke into the industry. Was it was really through calling and turkey calling. And his brother made a speech. Mark got inducted into the National Calling Hall of Fame. He's a world champion, 4 or 5 different types. He was a natural mouth caller, so he called just with his voice. Won a bunch of nationals. So when he was inducted, Terry got up there and was talking about, and when I asked Mark, I said, what does it take to be a national champion, to be the world champion? Nonstop. You never stop. You're always calling. You're calling in the car. You're calling at dinner. You're calling at your house. You're calling when you're working. You're working on it nonstop. And his brother Terry got up there, and we both know they're good buddies of ours. And Terry said, the whole family was, when Mark was first starting, when he was in college, they said, they let him go for a bit at Sunday dinner or at Christmas or at Thanksgiving, and they're like, Mark, you got to go outside. Mark, you got to go downstairs. Mark, you got to go out here, because he would just wear it out. But that's what it takes. He was obsessed with it, completely obsessed. And with him, that's where he broke into the industry. So, in 1986, 87, I think he was a sophomore in college down in Missouri, and he just won a calling championship. I think it was at NWTF actually, and he was talking to somebody, and Toxie Hayes comes up to him, 2 years old. Mossy Oak started in 1986. This was in 1987. Toxie said, kind of interrupted. Mark said, I was talking to a guy and he kind of interrupted me, and he came in and he says, hey, shook his hand. He said, what camouflage do you wear? He says, I just ordered this stuff on the back of this catalog. It was Mossy Oak. He said, I think it's the best stuff I've ever seen. And he says, my name's Toxie Hayes, and I'm the inventor of Mossy Oak. and
never know
Mark's
where it's
like,
gonna lead you.
That's wild.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, he said he was on spring break for his college, and he was staying at Toxie and his wife's house down in Mississippi. And he said he graduated, and the rest is history.
That's cool.
But that's how that whole relationship started. So you go back to Ryder, working that call.
Yep.
I just watched all these guys walk the stage down at NWTF, and Matt Van Sice was going for his 10th National World Championship. No one's touched that in history.
Yeah, no, that's insane.
And he got beat by a I'm gonna mess. His last name was Turner, I believe. But he's a legend. He is a legend, and that has set him up for his life. So we know how obsessed Ryder is. When he gets something in his head, he does not stop. So dude, embrace it. Give them all the Cabela's turkey calls.
Oh yeah,
that
he's
they
lighting
make
it up right now. And the worst part is it's funny you say that. So in hockey, we have a saying that we use in the room with the guys, and it's the lazy lose to the average lose to the focus lose to the obsessed. He literally threw that back in my face. He's like, I'm obsessed, Dad. I'm learning to do this. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
go for it. Just go do it outside. You know what I mean? Or go do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
But then I look back and I'm like, I remember driving down to Virginia or hockey trips or whatever. I had a Primos cassette tape. Mm-hmm. Put that baby in and listen to learn
Try
how
to mimic it back.
Oh yeah.
And during turkey season, I have mouth calls in my truck, and I'm in the truck between here and work and call.
Yeah.
And I like when we're going around in the mornings checking birds in the fields and stuff. I'm always calling in the truck still, trying to fine tune it.
And by the way, your mouth calling's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, it's probably because I'm doing
much
that.
better.
Yeah,
and you've been working on it.
Yeah, it is. It's an art
better.
you got to work on. And I'm like, and I listen to a lot of guys, right? Like I listen to yourself call, Woody's amazing at that.
Yep.
And then of course, over the years, listening to Waddell and those guys, dude, like, that kind of stuff is ridiculous.
I always think about like I call well enough to kill a bird. Like, that's what I'm after. We were filming. You guys remember we were filming that commercial?
We got to talk about this story.
So we try to get as many humans in the field as we possibly can when we go turkey hunting. And one time we were filming a commercial for ScentLock. We had a pile of us here.
Yeah.
It was obviously we were here. I think Hosie was here. Waddell was here.
Chipper
Duff
was here.
Duff was here.
All those guys back in the
Yep.
Birdie was here too. Birdsong.
Munt was
T-Bone,
here.
Munt,
Yeah,
Michael.
I mean, it was nuts.
Yeah.
Yep.
We
It
went
was a
out.
ScentLock team at that time,
Yeah,
which was huge.
I have never felt more
Bracket.
inferior.
Don't forget bracket.
Yeah.
Bracket.
I have never felt more inferior
Bracket.
than I did that day with a mouth call.
Yeah.
We got out. We all got set up on that fence row. I put my call in. I'm like, all right, I'm going to call here, right? And Waddell hit his call, and I'm like, oh, take that thing out, put it in my pocket forever. Like,
Well,
I don't need that.
What I loved about that is he was like,
Unreal.
you mean we can kill turkeys right now? We're like, yeah. And he didn't have a tag, but he's like, I have my turkey gear. And he just had his camo, and he had one call.
Yeah.
And then he had that carry light,
Yeah.
that fan.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, he had a fan and one call. Like all of us had gear. You got box calls and slates, and he had one call and a carry light. And that bird, it sounded like there was 100. And then when Hosie jumps in out of nowhere, like I literally did the same thing. I had my, you getting it warmed up. I was in there, I was getting it warmed up, and I'm just like, nope.
in case.
Took it right back, put it in there. I said, I'm just going to watch this.
I haven't actually checked. Has anybody ever looked at Waddell to see if he has spurs? Because he might.
He grows them. I think he sheds them for whitetail season. He grows them back.
Culpepper's got actual spurs.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Phillip has spurs.
Yeah, Phillip's got spurs. But that was amazing just to sit and watch those guys and to hear, I'm sitting I'm behind everybody, and I'm just like, how many guys are calling? Right? I couldn't hear exactly. It sounded like there was 15 different birds. It was two people calling.
It's like a
It was amazing.
really good goose caller.
Yeah.
Calling honkers. You sound like 8 honkers.
Yeah.
And that's where Hosie, Michael's incredible. They're both incredible, world class. And Mark called them out in his speech. He called out Hosie, and he called out Mark. And he called out Waddell, just for being influences and being part of. But Hosie, when he lit up, he sounded like 3 or 4 different gobblers.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Hens. It just it was
natural.
nuts.
It was natural too.
But he is a junkie.
Yeah.
And we've
he's a
known
turkey, 100%.
Nate for a long time, but that is what he's a turkey junkie, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, good dude. And
Makes
that
it
was fun.
so cool though when you hear that. You know what I mean? You're like, damn. Like when you see somebody that puts that much time into it,
an art
energy,
at
and
that point.
Yeah, and they love it that much, and that call fires up. It's a noticeable difference. It's like, well, that is so much better than what I can do.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, we were late to set with all of and we were shooting it as a company. And we were late to set, and the guy that used to work for ScentLock was like, where were you guys? And we're like, well, actually, we just shot your commercial. There's 11 of us. We're hiding in a bush.
We shot 2
And we
turkeys.
just shot 2 turkeys, and now we're going to shoot this commercial, which basically we just shot because it was that good, and it was incredible. So that was so much fun. And we have that one selfie of us, like all of us.
It's
that
the
was
only
there.
picture I think we have.
Yeah, from
And
being in the
your
field.
gobbler came in. You were on the gun first. And I remember it was coming in half strut the whole time. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Remember the knuckle on the back of its fan?
Yeah.
It was busted.
Yeah.
So it was like half strutting the whole time, but it was trying to full strut. Somehow broke that knuckle where all the tail
Where
feathers
everything
come
comes together.
Yeah. And but that was an old bird too.
Well, I think Jameson wrapped one after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Waddell, we shot that
Yeah,
one. We
he
went
did.
out and celebrated, and then Waddell said, "There's another one out there."
Yeah.
And then basically he's like, "Do we have any more tags?" And at the time, Jameson was running camera. He's like, "I have a tag," and he was just like, he planned on going turkey hunting later, but he was like, "If Waddy's gonna call for me, I'm shooting." And he didn't even ask. He said, "Get the gun and sit down." And he did this thing. He beat that thing up,
Yeah.
and all the way on the other side of that field, a second one
Through
came
the
running
pines,
and
yeah.
came all the way through the pines, and we shot a second one. And the other one was still laying in the field.
Yeah.
And we shot that second one, and it was like that all happened in like literally 20 minutes of
Yep.
each other, and
That's
it was we all jumped up again, and we're like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
And then I think Waddy even said like, "This is turkey hunting in Michigan." Like he couldn't believe that we could do that in a morning, just based on hunting in the South versus hunting up here. So
Georgia bird.
yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. That
Tough
was
bird.
incredible
Tough bird.
Well,
incredible
we
hunt.
hunted down there, went to Realtree Farms. Remember that? Went with David and Philip. And you ended up killing a bird in Alabama.
Yeah, we
Remember
went
that?
across. Yeah, we had to because the Georgia bird was so damn hard.
It was hard.
Yeah, we're like, all right, well, forget Georgia. Let's go to Alabama.
Yeah.
So we went into Alabama and killed a bird, and even that was hard. It's just those birds have been hunted so hard for so
hard.
That was with Philip, wasn't it? That was with
That
Culpepper.
was with Philip.
Philip and,
Yeah.
and David.
And he's got a legendary.
he's insane, man.
His
He's a
owl
turkey.
call in the morning.
his owl.
It's phenomenal. And I remember he was one of the first guys that I ever saw hunt with a strutter in his lap. Like remember he'd put it at his feet.
He gave it to me the first morning.
Yep.
He's like, put this in your lap. I laughed at him.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, good one. He's like, no, for real, put it in your lap.
Yep.
I'm like, in my lap? He's like, yeah, put this strutter in your lap.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this is one of those Realtree blooper videos. You know what I mean? I'm like,
thing's gonna shock
yeah,
me
so
or
I'm sitting
something.
here. I'm like, what's David got up his sleeve? Like, is this thing gonna have firecrackers in it, or no? He wanted me to sit there with the strutter in my lap.
Yeah.
And so I did. We didn't see a bird, but
Yeah.
it's because I had a damn strutter in my lap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that was
he's,
fun, man. That's crazy. That
He's
was
something.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It's
That was a
fun
good one.
seeing people in their element, though. Like, he's the guy, and Woody is like this. We've all hunted with. I learned how to turkey hunt with Woody, and Greg Abbas from Beaverton taught us how.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to turkey hunt before Greg taught us, because nobody in Gladwin County knew how to turkey hunt.
Right.
This was the late '80s, early '90s, and turkeys still had collars with they're tracking collars on.
Yeah.
So we didn't even know anything about turkey hunting. Well, Greg Abbas, he's 6-time Michigan State champ, A-Way Hunting Products, gave me a chance to produce the first ever series for Outdoor Channel when I was in college, A-Way Outdoors. But that's how we started. That's how we learned. But going back to Woody, he turns into a turkey.
Yeah, he does.
And he's one of those guys where he doesn't discuss what he's doing. He just walks a property and he walks up, he listens, he hears, he looks, he goes.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of, hey, I'm going to go up here. It's like he just feels it. And
Yeah.
that's the same way Philip was. When he just felt it, you just got to keep up with him.
Yeah.
He's not going to wait for you to keep up. If he's going through a slough, you follow him.
Yeah.
Because he knows where that gobbler's going, and he doesn't have time to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
And that's just those types of guys you learn a lot from. But they're turkeys, man.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. They are. You know what else? He definitely doesn't like poison ivy, Woody.
Oh.
Because there's some pictures of him. If we can find one, we got to put it up in this right here at this segment. We got to put this
I've got
up
several, but
of
yeah.
Woody
We gotta put it
and
up there.
his poison ivy face when he sent that thing.
Oh.
He looked like Will Smith in Pure Luck,
Yeah.
or no?
He looks like
or-
Mask.
Was
Pure
that
Luck.
no? That's not it. The other guy, Martin Short.
Yeah.
Is it Martin Short in Pure Luck? There you go.
No,
Martin Short.
Hitch.
Will Smith and
Hitch.
Hitch.
Hitch. That's
Hitch.
the one.
Will
It's Will
Smith
Smith
and
and Hitch.
Or
220,
Mask.
221.
Remember the movie
Yeah.
Mask with Cher?
Yes.
The
yes.
Mask?
Yeah, he did.
That's what it looks
he
like.
did. It was unbelievable.
Oh,
I
he's
never
swollen.
laughed so hard in my entire life. He's like, guys, I think I got poison ivy, and this picture came in. I swear I fell
Here's this-
down crying.
There's a story.
I cried.
I'll tell you about his poison ivy face. So him and his son Lake, he took Lake out to Nebraska. They wanted to kill a Miriam's, pure Miriam's out there, the North Dakota, Nebraska. Woody got poison oak so bad, his face swelled up so he couldn't see. So he took a bunch of what do you take for Benadryl. So he takes like 3 Benadryl, and they don't kill. It was a tough hunt. They're driving home, and he just starts feeling loopy. And he said he starts looking, and he said when the dragons, he said, I'm not kidding you, when dragons were coming out of the ditch, I pulled over. I said, I should probably pull over and go to sleep for a little while. But he said, I'm not kidding you, Jay, like dragons were coming out of the ditch. And he said, I was messed up. And the poison ivy's no joke. You guys know how much.
Oh,
no,
it's terrible.
I'm
Chris,
immune. Yeah, I'm immune.
You can literally
100% immune. I can rub it. I'm 100% immune.
Which I hate
to oak and ivy, and I know because every time we go to the tree, you guys are like, you got to get that one.
But it is kind of nice.
It is kind of nice because I just go up there and I'm like, I got it, and I am completely immune to it, which is amazing. You get it bad, but I am immune. Which
what
is
I
nuts.
hate in turkey season is when you strike one up and you're like, oh, and everybody bails and you sit down and you get ready. You pull the call out, you set it next to you, and you look and you're like, oh no, I'm surrounded by the ivy. Like you're
then I can't focus.
You're involved at that
then
point.
I'm just thinking about it.
Here we go. This is gonna happen.
Poor guys.
So
it's part of turkey hunting.
So we got that to look forward to in about a couple weeks.
Yeah, then we're gonna have lots of fun live turkey stories on here because we're gonna be hunting and coming right in here to talk about it, which is gonna be awesome.
Well, we got
989.
We got TSS this year too.
Yes, we do.
So,
which I'm very excited.
We're legal
about.
to say TSS.
Oh yeah,
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I got a box.
Just making sure.
Yeah, no, it's out.
We released so many of those ammos. I'm like, I think back in my head, I'm like, did that launch yet or no?
I've got a box in the office. We're gonna have to bring in for next podcast for a reveal because it'll be when we put the next one out. It'll be ready to go. Wow. So we'll unleash that on the next episode.
Well, at NWTF, all the ammunition gets sold in the center of the facility, like on the show floor. There's like an ammo area. It's NWTF store, but that's where the ammo's at. In the amount of Longbeard TSS that they ripped through, they couldn't keep it in stock. Yeah, and it's a game. We all know it's game changing. But yeah, man, I can't wait to use it this year.
Well, we were fortunate enough to be again part of that launch, and we tested it, and we had a camp here in Michigan. They just wrote an awesome article in the
NWTF.
Gilbertson sent it over yesterday.
Did Adam write it?
No,
it wasn't.
Matt wrote it.
Matt wrote it.
Yeah,
Stewie.
Yeah, so that was really cool, and it talks about Michigan and how this state is such an amazing place to turkey hunt, and just the conservation that happened here. But yeah, I mean, we saw it. Out to 70 yards, we were patterning that thing, and it was just deadly. The amount of pellets. Not that you're going to shoot that, but we've tested it, and it works, and it's incredible.
Real quick, we'll wrap the turkey stuff up. But I got a chance to sit down with Rob Keck at NWTF and interviewed him for the Winchester Life podcast, and I personally thanked him for. When he was CEO of NWTF, I think it was 79 through 09 or 78 through 08, 30 years, he was the CEO. And I said, thank you for what you did with the Michigan turkey population.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, tell me about it. And he went into how at first it didn't quite work because it had a hybrid turkey that was half raised and half wild or whatever, and they put it, and it just didn't take. Then they brought in Missouri birds. And this is always what I heard. In Missouri, they brought in Missouri birds and implanted them in Michigan, and it exploded. Yeah. And I said, thank you for doing that, because I remember, and you guys don't because you're in PA, and you had a pretty good turkey population there. Yeah. But we had none. Yeah. And for us to now be, I think we're number 7 in population or 6 in the country from 0 in 25 to 30 years, it's crazy. And to think about, just in general, the wild turkey conservation story, it was extinct. Yeah. They were extinct in the United States in the 30s. And they completely, went in there and in the conservation, the plan they had, is now they're I think at, I want to say 7 million is the population. Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, from basically extinct to, everywhere you look. Yeah. It's
pretty cool,
incredible.
Man.
So when we talk about all these turkeys in Michigan, we really mean Ohio.
Yeah.
Is where you want to go.
Yeah.
You don't want to come to Michigan.
Yeah.
There's
we've had a lot of winter kill last 3 years.
6 million killed last winter, so there's not a lot. So don't come here. Don't come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Wherever your adventure takes you, count on Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's to make it memorable. From the timberline to the campsites to the lake and the range, get your family outfitted with the right gear. With premium brands like Worldwide Sportsman, Ascend, Instinct, Redhead, and Natural Reflections, they've got the apparel and the gear to make it the best adventure ever. Stop by today for a one-of-a-kind shopping experience in-store or online at BassPro.com and Cabela's.com. See for yourself at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's stores. Your adventure starts here. All right, let's talk about beer for a second. You ever notice there's a big difference between Busch Light drinkers and other beer drinkers? I like to say we live on the wild side. You know, a guy with a Busch Light in his hand, he's a man of the people. He's out there in the wild every day. He's in the trenches smashing bushies with a smile on his face. You know why? Because he doesn't care. He's not looking for a soulmate. He just needs something to wash that damn jerky down. And he's got himself a 12-pack of Freedom in a can. And when that can gets cracked, it's like opening a door to a whole different world. It's just a vibe. And if you haven't felt it, you should. So go grab yourself a case of bushies, give them a rip, and take a walk on the wild side. You've got things that matter. Memories, heirlooms, documents, firearms. And we all know that life is unpredictable. At Winchester Safes, they make sure life's unpredictable moments don't take those things from you. They use state-of-the-art methods that refuse to sacrifice quality. They put everything they have into their products, offering proven protection and peace of mind. There's only one safe company worthy of the title, the American Legend, and that's Winchester Safes. Follow at Winchester Safes or learn more on winchestersafes.com. Let's talk about Mountain Ops, a brand that I rely on to fuel my fire in more ways than one. I could sit here and talk about how undeniably essential Ignite is to my daily life. I could explain the benefits of the Super Greens, and I could ponder out loud how they got those Super Greens and Super Reds for that matter to taste so damn good. Or I could just give you a quick look into who they are as a company, because to me that matters more than anything. So here it is. They recognize God and acknowledge His hand in all things. They believe in being worthy of others' trust. They're reliable and honest with their information. And lastly, they take full and personal responsibility for their actions and the outcomes. There you have it. If you want to learn more about Mountain Ops and stay connected, check them out on social media at Mountain Ops or head on over to their website, mountainops.com. And remember, if you want to save some cash, use code Keefer.
All right, we're back, and as we get in the second half of this podcast, I wanted to surprise you guys with something. So I want to start to introduce something, and this kind of came back really a little serendipitous. I was looking for something, and I ended up kind of going in a rabbit hole, and then I started thinking about it. And there's so much that we've done over the past that each week I would love to surprise you guys with a clip from something that we've done in the past. Something that maybe isn't on the air, behind the scenes. And trust me, I was on our Vimeo channel the other day, and there are some gems. Okay, there is some gems. I'm talking way back. But last week we talked about a few stories have dropped and some other stuff that we did in the Yukon. And I stumbled across this clip. So we're going to the guys are going to pull it up. We're going to share this clip. I want to watch this clip and then get your reactions in real time. And then I'd love to. It's just a 2-minute clip. And then you know what this is.
I looked around, I'm like, oh, I know what this is.
This is the Yukon sinkhole.
Yep.
And this never made the air. This is something that I think we definitely need to tell the story about because it was insane. So let's watch this clip for just a second.
Roll clip.
You want to walk, Jameson?
Powered through it.
Good boy.
Here he comes.
Oh,
Look at
Casper, girlfriend,
She didn't like the
black.
mud.
Her face is all mud.
Oh, poor girl.
I knew it would happen.
Now here comes the amazing part.
Yeah.
Oh, this.
Here it is.
Yeah. How'd that ever happen?
Wow.
Instincts took over. Yeah. Casp.
So to set the scene, I'm wearing the GoPro here.
Yep.
Jason was riding the white horse named Casper. That's a brutal look at my face. And then Jameson, he is the man forcing this horse out of the sinkhole right now.
Here's the thing, though, is it looks like right there that's like the bad spot to cross. That was the best spot to cross because everything else was completely soaking wet for 20, 30, 40 yards.
Yeah, it was the shortest. It was the shortest span.
I had already gone through, so we had 2 horses already through there. It was just a matter of Casper did not like the mud.
Well, you
So
were on.
here she comes.
You were on a superstar horse.
And here comes Jameson. He gets her out.
Just let her go, let her go.
Yeah.
Good girl.
She was deathly afraid of mud.
Well, she was afraid of mud because on the trail in one year, she
There's
got
the horses.
she got stuck in a sinkhole, and they had to get her out with a damn come
Oh, there I am. Freaking 15 hard drives on my back. That's all it was. That was actually just a hard drive back then. That's how big they were.
Here he comes. Look at the young Jason here. Look at this.
Nice thin
Dark beard.
Dark. Look at the darkness of that beard.
Okay.
You look like that guy that coaches Ohio State football.
Drama.
No.
So that was the horse drama. That was behind the scenes in the sinkhole. And there was a lot. There's a lot to unpack here for a second.
Now
because
I know why you were looking for that
yes,
other horse clip.
I'm going to find it, and you got to be ready for one of those to pop up.
Oh.
I couldn't
think I
find
know
it.
which one
It's
that
coming.
is.
So another episode, I'm going to
find it.
surprise you. There's another one that I'll get, and that leads to if we unpack this. Jameson ended up with a hernia or he pulled something. He was pissing blood, and we were worried for a long time that like he really tore something bad because he had to go to the bathroom, and of course there's that much snow, and he's like, guys, we got a problem. So that happened when he was trying to get that horse out.
Yeah.
The last thing you want when you're in the Yukon for 35 days is to all of a sudden be pissing blood.
Yeah, not good. Not good. Sorry,
100
Jameson. We
miles,
just told the world
roughly.
you pissed blood, but that's just what
base
happened.
camp. 80 miles.
Is you did, and then you have Casper, and at this point, Casper's giving you the troubles.
Oh, trouble.
Troubles. Jason and horses and Casper. That was not. I have never laughed so hard in my life because I had, like you said, the rock star horse, Badger.
You did. He
I
was
had a
badass.
rock star horse,
Yeah.
but this horse that you had, I
Well-
never laughed so hard in my life.
Let's set this up first. So we are 23 days in to a 30, probably 23, 24 days in to a 38-day hunt in the Yukon.
Yeah.
We are probably 50 miles from our base camp on horses. It had just snowed 3 feet. We had been stuck in our tent for 4 days, 3 to 4 days. Our horses had no food.
Nope.
They ate the willows out from where we were. We couldn't let them go too far because it was too far to go get them because the snow was so deep. So we had a decision to make. We had to decide, are we going to literally pack up and take these horses 25 miles to the next camp through 3 feet of snow, through all sorts of jagged rock in random location. We didn't know. We knew where the destination
trail
was.
is covered.
The trail's
So
covered.
this is now just pure navigation at this point. So
No.
that's why we're kind of off. This is like off the. We just know the direction.
We
we're
know the
going.
direction, and I guess that's part of the decision we had to make as a group is do we go
Yeah.
or do we wait it out? Because at that point in time, we could call on our sat phone and get the satellite update from somebody. Hey, such and such. Check the weather for the Yukon in this area for the next 3 days. We didn't have InReach like now.
Yeah.
You can get, weather plans and all that stuff. So you're a little blind. Meanwhile, we had so much snow. The pilot
Yeah.
Yeah, he wrecked. He crashed.
Yeah.
He wrecked.
Yeah,
He
crashed trying
tried.
to
He
come
tried
in.
picking up a group.
Yeah.
He was late and we were pissed off and we were like, "Why? What's going on?" And then he got there and he looked like he'd been on a bender for 5 days.
He stepped out on the float. And
Yeah,
he was like,
and he was like, "I just flipped my plane and I couldn't get." And then
It
they
was
had
tough.
that down. So I mean, it was rough weather the whole time.
it's fun as shit.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But again, where I go back to Casper and mud and how much that horse hated it and how much Jason
Well, I've got a story
had to
for
ride that horse.
Oh, the Yukon car wash. The slightest peek at mud.
Yeah.
She would hear the horses ahead, and she'd
Yeah.
be like, "I'm out."
Yeah.
We
Off
go
she'd
high.
every
And
time.
didn't
I know.
matter
I
if-
remember looking up, going, "The fuck's he doing up there?"
Yeah.
And
So
I
high.
I'm not a I don't ride horses all over the place, so I'm not an equestrian professional. But what I
thought you
did
were.
know is, no, I'm not. Casper's ears, as soon as she heard that muskeg, her ears would go boop, 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 boop. They'd come alive. And I knew what's happening here. Well, she would take me up. We crossed a creek. Well, she would go high up on the creek, and we're 30 feet above you guys, and she won't listen to me, probably because she thinks I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
And that's how horses, they connect with your riders. And I was probably like, what is she doing?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, go this way. Well, she would go up high and rip my insides of my legs off, ripping willows, and couldn't figure out why she was doing this. Oh, it was probably 6 days in. I said, Logan, you know, Logan in Canada, you have to be guided. Logan was our guide. We're in sheep country. I said, Logan, why is Casper taking me up into the willows like this? It's unacceptable at this point. It's unacceptable. That's a great horse. I know she's got it in her. Again, the only mare that was in the whole fleet was the one I was on.
Yeah.
Turn her into
Casper.
goalie pads.
Yeah.
Well, he said, you know, I probably should have told you this. She's paranoid of the mud. I said, why? Well, you know, bring it in, because they bring these horses 100 and some odd miles from Whitehorse in to their base camp every year into their concession. And says we've had her stuck up to her, you know, past her chest a number of times, and we'd had to put ropes around her to pull her out.
Yeah.
And
There's
I
the
said,
come along to get her out.
Yeah, they had to come along.
Yeah.
So, hey, go figure. That's
Yeah.
probably why she's a little mud shy. Now, take us all the way to this sinkhole.
Yeah.
Now I know this, and I hear sinkhole, we got to cross mud. I knew she was going to get stuck. I said, she's getting stuck. I remember saying, she's going to get stuck. So I'm on her. And I say, come on, girl, like this. And she just didn't really go. And she
didn't
like
have
took
it in
3
her.
steps, and she's like, I'm stuck. She just gave up. She gave up.
She did.
So
She gave up. You can see it in her eyes.
So I had the 5D on me back
Yeah.
when the 5D wielding that thing meant something.
Yeah.
I had it around me because I was grabbing footage as we were riding, and I grabbed that thing like it's the damn. Like I'm Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's my poncho.
Yeah.
Satchel. I wheel that thing, and I throw it to Chris. Didn't even think about it. Caught it.
The throw was, first of all, it was a dart.
Yeah.
I mean, you dropped a dart. You threw a camera 40 yards
Yeah.
and dropped it in his lap
Yeah, and it was all instinct.
while your horse was drowning in mud and you were stuck up to your waist.
And let's not overlook the point that I just left. I just got off her. I had all this. The most important shit was in my backpack.
Ship her to the glue
The
factory.
hard drives.
You were done.
All the stuff was in my bag. So I'm like, I'm not risking getting all this stuff and ruining really throwing our complete production out just for, you know, getting my bag wet and muddy. And so I said, we'll figure it out, but I'm not helping with this bag on my back. Jameson goes in there, and he's a big guy. You know, he just, let's get after it. He always wants to get after it. Well, he went in there and basically deadlifted Casper out of the mud.
He was
He was
prime.
prime. He was
back
prime
then,
Neff.
too.
He was.
Nephew
He was into it. He was big.
Thick back then.
Yeah.
And go figure. He blew a loin and pissed blood for the next 3 days.
He did. He did. It was unbelievable. I like I said, I stumbled on this and I watched it. I just haven't seen it since the Yukon, and it's just one of those things that, you know, as we go through this, there's so many stories that have happened like this that have hit the cutting room floor that aren't actually in the show. I just happen to be wearing a GoPro at that time. Like, I don't even think there's GoPro footage in dropped.
No.
It just happened to be where I was at some.
Well, you were really good on the horse.
Yeah.
I used a lot of your footage.
And I would just
on the
be wearing
horse.
it, and for whatever reason, like, I made it through that mud hole, and then I turned that on because I knew that Casper
Something's
had the
gonna
hot
happen.
feet, and when I knew that was coming, I'm like, here it goes.
Well, I
Here it
asked
goes.
Logan. He said she's also, her hooves are much smaller around.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have, in the mud, they go down deeper, and there's not as much surface area, so it cuts down farther like a knife.
Yeah.
Basically. So yeah, I mean, she just. But I find out, we go back there 3 years later, we shoot an Animal Planet series.
Yeah.
And Logan says, hey, turns out she was pregnant the whole time you were on her. She was pregnant at 24 years old. A mountain horse, pregnant at 24. He's like, yeah, she's retired. So
Probably
they
that horse that
retired.
Jameson was on, Caesar was his name, and he
remember
was
that?
just a stud.
That dude.
It matched, like, the horses were all kind of matching. It was one of those like hysterical things where we were
Well,
like,
Casey's farted all the time,
Yeah.
nonstop.
Yeah, I mean, dead spot, dead on.
and I don't know why it was so funny, why horse farts are funny, but horse farts are funny.
All farts. Are
I don't know why, but horse farts are funny, especially when they got to walking farts. Like, and I would just laugh the whole time. I don't know why that was the
Casey's
case.
he was
Bruiser.
so hungry. Bruiser was hungry all the time, so he would
was
be
ripping.
going down the trail and he'd hammer. He'd see some green and he'd zip it on the way through. he'd mow a little more on the way through.
He was a walking mower. You remember when he flipped me over him?
Oh yeah.
He got down, he tripped on himself, and he threw me right over top. And I thought, well, that's if I had my 10 millimeter, that'd be it right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how angry I was.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and he would fart. He'd throw a little. We'd climb a mountain a little bit. You know, we'd go up to the base, and they'd get us to the base, and then you climb the rest of the way. He'd go up,
The whole way.
and I'd laugh every time, every single time.
Every time, no matter what. Still funny.
Yeah.
Still funny to this day.
I think back to that whole trip, and I am deathly allergic to horses.
Oh yeah.
And cats.
Yeah.
And we're like, what are we going to do for this one? Let's go ride horses for a month and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Can we do that? It
Yeah.
sounds like a real good time.
You would show up in camp just eyes sealed shut half the time when we did the big rides. And you'd just
Breathing.
be like trying
Dander.
to breathe through a straw.
Yeah,
So
hardly breathe.
well, that was the last time we did stuff with horses. We stuck to rafts because you don't have to feed them and you don't
Yeah.
have to take them
gotta keep 'em
anywhere.
inflated,
You
though.
just got to keep them inflated. That's about it. So we switched back to rafts. But the sinkhole was one of those stories that I thought would be fun to share. And if you guys check out the clip, it's
Do you
pretty cool.
remember what happened about an hour and a half after the sinkhole on your horse?
With Badger?
He went down.
Yeah,
and
Badger.
you went down.
Oh,
on the
yeah. He
edge
was
there.
going up and we
Remember that?
flipped. Yeah, we flipped over.
You went
edge.
down,
Yeah.
and I thought you snapped your leg.
Yeah, no, he landed on me.
He landed on you.
He was such a good horse, but he was, we got caught up in so much. Again, we
It was a
were
tough-
blazing a trail. It
that was a
like
tough
there was
ride.
no trail. And
It was
then
dangerous for
He
sure.
lost it, flipped over,
Yeah.
I landed, and it was like he landed right on me. And it was, I think we have that too. I think we have that somewhere.
I didn't have the crash, but we went up
the
to you.
aftermath. Yeah. Yeah, that was tough. That was tough sledding up there with those horses, but
That was probably out of all of them, that was one of the toughest.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
that was tough.
they gave us a lot of memories and a
was
whole
great,
lot of
man.
laughs, but we're gonna do this every week. I'm gonna come up with a surprise clip for you guys every week, and trust me, I got some doozies planned. I found some that I was like, wait a second. I mean, it's incredible.
How
what's
far
on
back
that
in the
channel.
vault are we going here?
I have all the way back to the very first intro we've ever done.
Oh,
all the way back
with
to
horses.
the bloopers.
I've got
we got a horse for that intro.
We did get a horse for that intro,
We
but
brought
that
one
was like
in.
a stable
you
horse.
were
I'm
more
just
of a-
behind the scenes on all that.
You're more of an equestrian than you think.
Yeah,
Damn it, I am.
yeah. You secretly love
Don't
horses.
tell anyone.
I do.
Don't tell my kids.
There's another horse clip where you might not think I like horses too.
And then, for
And that
whatever
actually
reason,
won.
it's gone off of everything. But I am gonna we're gonna get that clip, and we're gonna make it happen because I know it's here somewhere.
I have the clip. I
and
know
that
where
was
it's at.
so
It's
good.
not on Vimeo.
That was so good that it won the best blooper on Sportsman Channel for those Golden Moose Awards back in the day. The horse hatred video, and again, I never cried so hard in my life out there. And that was the best part. You'd be struggling with these horses, and I am doing nothing but laugh. I am literally buckled over.
Oh, yeah.
Pissing my pants because I can't help him and he's over there yelling at that horse and he'd be doing all the things
We didn't
and I just
connect. We just
couldn't
didn't
stop.
connect.
Nope.
Couldn't stop laughing.
That's what happens.
You didn't have the.
We didn't have it.
No nuggy.
No.
And if you don't have this, you don't have shit.
She was old. She was a mountain horse, and she's smart.
pregnant.
She was pregnant. She was
Cranky.
temperamental at the time.
Cranky. Yikes.
Cranky.
Yeah.
For some of us, the hunt never stops. Grizzly understands that more than most. Rugged, reliable, and built to never back down. Whether you're on the trail, by the water, or deep in the dark timber, Grizzly is by your side. Tough enough to take on the wild and ready for whatever you can throw. Grizzly is committed to products that never let you down. Always on the hunt with Grizzly.
Out here in the wild, precision isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. Leupold Optics is built on the foundation of American craftsmanship, where every features function first. For over a century now, they've combined dedication and technology with a relentless put-it-to-the-test attitude, creating optics that stand up when everything else stands down. When it matters most, you need the best. That's what you get with Leupold Optics. While other companies out there warranty failure, Leupold guarantees performance for life.
Some call it out on the trail. I like to call it the road less traveled. The kind of place where the going gets tough. That's where Tracker Off-Road comes in. Made for those who won't back down. Tracker Off-Road delivers the hardest working machines with the greatest capability at the strongest value in the industry. Built by those who know what it takes and designed for those who don't turn back. Tracker is dedicated to delivering machines that let you get the most out of your day and your dollar. Ready to take on your next adventure? Go with Tracker Off-Road.
Every shot counts. And when it's time to make it count, you want the best. Winchester Ammunition has built its legacy on a commitment to innovation by continuously pushing what's possible. In the heartland of America, the American legend crafts ammunition that's purpose-built, reliable, accurate, and ready to perform no matter how harsh the conditions. Whether you're hunting or shooting for sport, Winchester will be there.
Back to just real quick, and are you guys still rolling? Yep. I don't know if you guys saw or not on the whole Gene Hackman thing, but did you see how they figured out who it was?
No.
Onyx.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
For his property?
That's how they figured out who it was. Yeah, so when the guy, I guess when the guy found him, because like a caretaker land, whatever guy found the door open, he walked in. He knew who it was because he'd been doing it forever. But when he called the police didn't know who it was. It says right in the thing they went on Onyx Maps.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's how they figured it out. So,
Figured out the land.
yeah, I thought that was interesting. But
Yeah.
Very cool. What do you got, Jay?
Well, okay, I got a question for you. Both you guys. It's a tough one. What is your very favorite place to hunt and why?
I can answer pretty damn quick.
go ahead.
Brooks Range. I know that it sounds like a cop-out because I'm telling you, maybe it's because it's where the first drop was. Maybe it's because we're tied to it. The Brooks Range to me is the most beautiful place I've ever been, and it is absolutely one of my fondest memories ever when I'm hunting.
Yep.
And I've been fortunate enough to hunt a lot of farms, seen a lot of beautiful food plots, seen a lot of beautiful places. The Brooks Range in the fall, to me, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yep.
Explain it though, why? It's great. It's nice to say it. I want to know why.
Okay, so that bittersweet moment when the plane leaves, okay, there's a happiness, there's also a shock of, okay, we're here. But there's a sense of quiet in a busy life that is just unparalleled to anywhere else. Like, there's not even an echo. If you yell, it doesn't echo. Like, there's nothing. And I think that sense of peace is amazing. And then, the memories, I think, is what ties me to why I love it there so much. First moose was shot up there. Your moose floating down the river, and like the things that it can come at you in 5 seconds. That to me, it doesn't. That stuff, that sense of adventure doesn't happen in the lower 48. And so to be able to just at any moment, a muskox walks by, a brown bear comes into camp, a wolf shows up. It's just, you don't know what to do at any given moment, and you're always like head on a swivel, but yet you're so calm. Like there's, and maybe it's just our normal days are so jammed. That sense of peace, I think we've always said, the disconnect to reconnect. I don't know, man. Brooks Range for me is just it. And I've been to other mountain ranges. Like, I'm not saying that it's a mountain range. I'm saying the Brooks, like the way it looks, the way the mountains are, the height, the rivers, everything up there is just so familiar, And so when we did season 1, to come back and do Project Origins and land again in that same spot, and to see how much we've changed, and to see how little that's changed was amazing to me, right? And it's just like that to me is just ever going to be my favorite place to land. And the smell. As soon as you get off the plane, I'm like,
it's the little
like
things, man. The muskeg, the sound of the river, the rapids, and just the little things that it's hard to explain when you get out there.
Yeah.
It's the sun in the morning, cold sun at night. It's all of it. It's the fire. It's the tent.
Yeah, it's all of it.
It's all of it.
It's all of it. What about for you? Are you connected that way?
Yeah,
I know you
it's
are.
the Brooks 100%. For me, it comes down to like I step off that plane and I feel like this is where I belong. And that's where it starts for me, is that like I am where I need to be, or I am where I should be. So it starts with that. To your point, the sights, the sounds, the smells, all that stuff plays into that. The other thing that I think is really appealing to me about being out there is you're not in control.
Yeah.
And there's a little piece of that is like, that's the thrill seeking, the adrenaline, the like, this is crazy. We plan and we try to control as much as we possibly can, but the reality is you have no idea what the hell is going to happen next. And so there's a sense of this is where I belong, but I'm not in control. And for some reason that's calming as hell. Like I can't explain it. Like it's, you would think being not in control, you'd be like, oh shit, and panicky and everything else. Like, no, it's just, this is where I belong and I'm here. So it's the Brookses, there is no place on earth like it.
If you've never experienced it, don't be one of those people that say, I'll never get a chance. Find a way.
Yeah.
Find a way, because it's doable. I never thought I'd get a chance, and I've been there multiple times. And it's just, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
It's just
not easy.
No, it's not. But you'll
There's
find
some
a way.
work.
It's doable.
Yeah.
It's doable for anybody. It's doable for anybody's budget. It really, truly is, doing your research and figuring it out. And it's incredible. I mean, all of it. It's just something about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Been a lot of places, but Alaska in general. But man, you get to the Brooks, it's something special. That whole Anwar.
I will say this, some of the prices of this shit are getting wildly out of control. I mean, have you seen what some of these moose and like, I mean, we're talking $35,000-$40,000.
Crazy.
Didn't the sheep just go for over $1 million? $1.3 million for a sheep?
It's something's got to give. Like, it's getting.
It's becoming, it's not the common man thing anymore.
Yeah, it's
you
crazy.
have to have cash.
Yep.
And it's tough. I mean, if you have kids that you want to take on some really cool hunts, and it almost becomes, you got to choose one or the other. You got to choose college. I mean, in reality, it's tough, man. It is
$1.3 million for a sheep. I'll take two. Like, who's gonna, like, that is just outrageous.
It's a conservation, obvious. I heard the story.
I get it.
You know,
I
but
get it. It's
wild because it sets the tone.
Yeah,
you know,
it's crazy. Well, it's just insane.
I just think overall, you look at outfitting in general and like, something's got to give.
What happened to the $2,500 whitetail hunt? You know, it's like it doesn't exist anymore. Nope. You know, it's like it just doesn't. Leasing prices, all that stuff, and it's tough. No doubt.
We are getting old, right? And I complain about prices all the time. And Darcy said, it's not 1998 anymore. I get it. Things are more expensive. So obviously whitetail hunts can't be $2,000 forever. And I get that. Things get more expensive. But I feel like there's a certain point where it becomes unattainable.
Yeah.
Because of the cost of everything else. It's just hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'll say from a hunt standpoint, I thought hard about this, but I didn't think too hard. The Brooks Range, there's no question. It's up there as the top. But when I close my eyes and think about sitting in a whitetail stand, we've hunted everywhere.
Yeah.
Our lives. We've hunted so many places. I've been everywhere, running the camera with all of us, but for me, it's where it started. It's where I first learned how to deer hunt. It's where I first sat in that tree stand. And even though I haven't bow hunted for 20 years in this spot, it's Tobacco River where I started, where I grew, where my family has 5 generations of a farm on the Tobacco River. The guy who taught me how to bow hunt, he's got a 4-generation farm just downriver. So for me, when I shut my eyes and I think about getting up, and we didn't even have tree stands at the time, we made them out of 2x4s, out of trees, in trees, and we scaled them with no safety harnesses, not because because they didn't have them at the time.
Yeah.
That's when I think about, when hunting was special, when it was like you felt like you were part of something, a movement that was happening, that not many people did yet. Bow hunting in the 80s, there wasn't a whole lot of people who did that. They started. It was just starting. But man, for me, when I shut my eyes, and now I get to reconnect and waterfowl hunt back at, on that river and stuff like that. And you guys have waterfowl hunted it. We've made some great memories down there. But man, when I think about where it all started, and that's where literally the very first thought of filming a hunt happened in that woods.
Yeah.
So it's like where those things start from.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a good connection. They always say, though, if you see some of those stands that are built, how many times have we seen stands like that where you go, well, if this is built with 2x4, chances are I got to put a tree stand here somewhere. Yeah, you got to put a tree stand here somewhere. We got a couple of those in Ohio, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's where the deer walk out.
Yeah.
That's easy scouting when you see one of those old stands up.
Yep, there's no question.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Well, you actually killed Rip about 40 yards from one
Yeah,
this year.
from one of those wooden ones. Yeah, no doubt.
You walked right under it.
Yeah, there's something about those old stands.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into, I got a quote of the week. You guys want to try this?
Sure.
Let's do something here. So I think this is one of those things where, every week we're going through things in the business, right? So we're running a business at the same time that we're doing all this. And there's always just something that always kind of sparks, and obviously I'm on Instagram, but I saw this quote and I thought it was interesting, just in parallels with a lot of stuff. We're hockey coaches as well, baseball coaches, all that stuff. So we're always in the locker room, always trying to inspire this younger generation to kind of do stuff. So I wanted to throw a quote out to you guys and just get your mindset around, like, what do you think it means? It's pretty simple, but basically, if you're not around for the hunt, don't show up for the feast. So if you think about that from a perspective, if you're not around from the hunt, don't show up for the feast. Mm-hmm. It kind of separates the hunters from the hunted. Mm-hmm. It separates those who say from those who do. And so there's an interesting dynamic there around, I say, like, the whole business side of stuff that we do, plus everything that's been going on in our entire lives. People come, people go. But if you're not around for the hunt, then don't show up. And I think that that's really important in sports. I think, like, as we've been coaching, it's more in my mind of, like, kids saying, I'm not going to practice today, or I'm not doing that. It's like, then don't show up and expect to get the reward, right? So what does that mean to you guys on that front? Just not to get too deep, but what do you think that means?
This plays into literally a locker room talk I had the other day with my boys, and the message was very simple. People think there's a secret sauce. There's no secret sauce. Show up and work.
Yeah.
Like,
simple.
Put in the work.
Yeah.
That's just what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I said to the boys, and we had, a championship game the other day. I said, boys, we've been on this march to the top. There's no elevator to take you there. You got to take the stairs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Work hard, show up, and you'll be rewarded. And if you do that as a unit, we'll all do it together. So, that's put in the work, man.
Yeah, put in the work. That's it. So what about you, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously love sports. It's a big part of my life. I relate that to sports, no question.
Yeah.
It goes into the work ethic. If a player wants to get to the next level and wants to take your team to the next level, one, you have to have a team that believes in it. But as an individual, you have to put the time in to get to the next level. And it doesn't happen to just anybody. You're not naturally gifted enough to go where you think you could go just by not working at it. Yeah. So yeah, man, it's like you put the time in, and in business, you got to grind, man, like these hours. And I think, you look at a lot of these businesses, these companies that are like, oh man, that businesses, they just sold for 150 million. They just sold for 250 million. And you think it was overnight, man, they've been grinding for a long time. Yeah. It's rare that a business up and sells out of nowhere for something. There's a story of work that's been put into that business that got them to that point. A lot of people, what they say is in the darkness. What happens in the darkness? What happens when nobody sees you? Mm-hmm. When you do that, when you control, when nobody sees you and you put the work in, that's when that happens. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what
I think social media has changed that a lot, right? So you see people today on social media as who they are, but what you don't realize is for 10, 15 years, they've been grinding to be that person, but you instantly get the gratification of like, well, I want to be just like them. And you're like, well, you didn't put 15 years of the work in along the way, right?
Well, it's either that or they're full of shit.
Exactly. Or they're just starting and they're completely making it up. And then usually they weed themselves out, right? Yep. Because people end up kind of catching on that they're bullshit along the way. But I think we get this question from the younger generation, like we do the shows or Cabela's and stuff. How should I break into the industry? Yeah. And I equate this to, show up for the hunt, show up every day, just work, go to work. Mm-hmm. There's no secret sauce to it. Mm-hmm. There's no secret sauce. It is literally work. And I think other people's opinions, people let that weigh on them too much. It's like, just do your thing. Do your thing, and every day you'll get further and further along. But, you know, again, it kind of equates to if you don't carry the bricks, don't expect to enjoy the house. So carry the bricks. Get your ass to work and start grinding and get it done. And I think that carries over from business to sports. So I think it's a thing that as we're continuing to do this podcast, I think it correlates with our lives because we're in the coaching phase, we're in the younger kid phase, we're getting these questions, and I just thought I saw that and I was like, I just love to see what you guys think about that quote, which is just interesting because we've been through it all, and I think the ones that have been on the hunt with us have been here for 10 and 15 years and are still grinding and still supporting, and I love it, and I think it's amazing that everybody's kind of on the hunt with us. So it's pretty cool. So yeah.
I got one last thing before we wrap up. Every week, you guys know me, I'm a hat fanatic, and I can't actually bring myself to throw them away. And we get a lot of free hats from our partners, and I like hats, and I spend too much money on hats. That's just the honest truth. I have a problem.
You have a problem. We're gonna have to have an intervention. There's a problem.
I'm sure Darcy would like to hear you say that. But for me, it's hard to throw a hat away because they mean something at the moment. Like when you wear a hat, and that's part of a hunt or part of a story or part of. To me, I look at a hat. I don't just see what it looks like on my head. I see like what was happening when I wore that hat last.
Yeah.
It's like I kind of know. So every week I'm going to wear a new hat because I have so many of them, and I want to put them to use.
Got to put
trying to justify to Darcel why you don't have to throw them away.
That's right, or why I can buy new ones. So there's a lot of new hat brands, and like I find new hats, and I wore one last week, and it's a really sweet. It's called Dabbling Duck, and it's a sweet hat.
Yeah. You're in the old school retro camo phase.
I do,
because you just did NWTF, so you probably got aggressive.
Well, I got
there.
3 hats now.
Yeah, so
that's
what it is.
This Dabbling Duck hat's sweet, but this hat I have on, the If It Flies It Dies hat.
Yeah.
It's 45 years old. This was worn hunting the bay back in the 80s. Darcy's dad's brother was a big hunter, and he passed away from cancer years ago. But when he passed away, this is the hat. I got 2 hats. This was one that I got, and I wear it on opening day. But it's just a badass hat.
So it's not even retro. That's actually
this is actually legit.
That's a 40-year-old hat.
Yeah, that's. I thought you actually bought that the other day because that would be something.
It looks
you'd
like
see.
it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But
If we made that hat right now, it would fly.
It would fly off.
Let's do that. Let's make that hat.
I mean, I think we should. It's a sweet hat.
Yeah.
So
phenomenal.
Next week I'll have a new hat. I don't know what it is yet. I've got some bins of hats, and it might look stupid on me, and I don't care because I'm gonna wear one, and we'll talk about it next week.
See, I'm the opposite. I get a hat and I wear it out. Like I just wear it out. So I always have to get 2. So I've been on a Leupold kick because they got amazing hats,
so
right?
many good
You
hats.
got that one, and I got a couple of those. So I'll wear this one. I just wear it out. I got Mountain Ops hats, and I get 2. It's just worn out, and then I have a clean one, but I'll rotate and I'll come back to that one. So I have a whole situation, but I'm the same way, man. I hate not wearing a hat. So it's something special if I'm not wearing a hat.
Yeah.
So,
When I have to coach hockey and I get behind the bench and I'm like, I got to do my hair. I'm like, ooh.
it's the worst.
The hell do I do?
I started
there?
wearing a skull cap during
Shave
the
it
games.
off.
I started
I'm
wearing
like,
a
what
skull
do I do
cap.
there? I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, that's not cool.
I don't have hair.
I can do the Barry Melrose slick back for all the hockey games, and the boys are always like, "Oh, here he comes! There's the slick back." And then I started just wearing a skull cap because I'm like, I just don't feel,
It's cold on
don't
the
feel
ice. You
right.
get away with it.
Just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel right without a hat on. So,
Well, boys, it's been a good episode number 2.
It has been.
Yeah.
yeah, man.
A lot of fun, a lot of stories. I think the best thing about this podcast is we'll see where it goes. Every episode, we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah, let's hear some feedback. If you like the more stories, you want to hear more behind the scenes, or you want to get into what's going on, current events, let us know. Give us the comments, do all the stuff, subscribe, like, stars, push the buttons, whatever they say those young folks are saying these days. Do it. Do it. So, follow us. Wilder Minds.
Wilder Minds, episode 2.
Mama say it's a new day song.